at Auto Image USA in Norman, where they have everything you need to upgrade your ride. At Auto Image USA, they have so many services for you like paint correction, window tint, paint protection film, or maybe you want that boat, RV, or car looking brand new in the interior again with the top-of-the-line detailing. Plus, you can get their Enviro Shield paint and interior fabric protection backed by their 3 or 5 year warranty. Call them today, 405-321-4444. They are the best. Check them out.
You're listening to the home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Let's get it rolling, folks. Another day, another jam-packed show. As Big Voice Guy said, you can send us a text at 405-651-3439. And, y'all, I truly wasn't going to say anything about this whole situation unless I felt like I had to, but I want to start off the show by recognizing one of the people that anyone would love to have in their corner, and that's Teddy Lehman. Look, folks, my full-time job is covering recruiting. I'm well accustomed to pot shots and personal attacks because I'm going to be wrong from time to time. I'm going to be wrong because a 17-year-old kid changed his mind or lied to a coaching staff or these days took a bag. And that's outside my control. But so many fans are so invested into everything that pertains to their favorite college football program. And so when they get let down and they get disappointed, they lash out, especially if they feel like you're partially responsible or even primarily responsible for their disappointment and misguided expectations. And so I get it. I've learned to absorb it and move on. And look, I'm not perfect in this capacity, and I don't claim to be, but I do my best to live at peace with everybody and to treat everybody with respect. Now, I was still very green several years ago when I joined the Ref. I was 22 years old and got the gig because Toby Rowland, God bless him, recommended me to the Vineyards. I'd never met Ted when I joined the Ref. Had never met him. I had no idea what kind of person he was. All I knew about Ted was that obviously he was a former OU football player and a dang good one who had more than a cup of coffee in the NFL. And I'm a very normal guy, right? I made it as far athletically as 99% of the human population does. I'm just a guy who's been blessed with decent communication skills and a platform. And how many stories do you hear about big-time athletes that in their post-football life are just a pain to deal with? And so I somewhat naturally figured, hey, if there's going to be a squeaky wheel at the Ref, it's got to be the former NFL player, right? Like, if there's somebody that's going to act entitled or stuck up or holier than thou, it's going to be Ted, right? Y'all, let me tell you, I learned very quickly. Ted is the most normal, down-to-earth, easygoing, congenial dude you can imagine that just so happened to be really good at football back in the day. He has no ego. He doesn't hold his past athletic prowess over everyone's head like certain others do, and he wins awards for his show every single year because he and Tyler do a fantastic job of what is, in my opinion, the only thing that matters in this profession, and that is the ability to make the listener feel as if you're in their living room talking ball and shooting the breeze. Now, I think anyone who played sports at any level has grown up with a similar principle impressed upon them. If you get attacked, turn the other cheek, but if somebody messes with your teammate, man, the gloves come off and you stand up for them. And I'm very glad I have teammates who live by that creed. And that not only goes for Ted, but also for Dari Noka. And I was bouncing back and forth between phone calls this morning, so I didn't hear the beginning of Dari's show, but I'm told he stuck up for me as well, and I love it, man. Dari's the freaking lead anchor of the SEC network. He's another guy with every ostensible reason to have an ego and a sense of entitlement, and it just doesn't exist. So I'm grateful for those guys, man. Grateful to be a part of a team here at the Ref where we're all pulling in the same direction. On that note, it's my turn to stick up for my teammate because insulting Teddy Lehman's intelligence is just a completely misguided and ignorant thing to do because he is genuinely one of the smartest people I know. And yeah, he has what might be construed as that dumb jock bit that he leans into sometimes, what with the mispronouncing names and all. But if you get to know Teddy, it's actually remarkable how well-read and how knowledgeable he is about so many things beyond just sports, like politics, music, pop culture. That dude knows it all. And you would know this if you actually knew him. And so all I have to say with regard to the guy who decided to start a war by trying to drag me is, man, I'd sincerely like to talk sometime. I'd love to have a reason to believe that you're not as abrasive off the air as you are on it, and it's all just an act. Because there's way too much blind judgment in our world today, way too many people who feel comfortable dissing other people that they don't know on a personal level, and it's a lot harder to hate somebody when you've actually had a human interaction with them. So I'd love to have one with you. Get my number from Steely. You want to have a man-to-man conversation? I'd welcome it. That's that. I took 5 minutes. That's all I'm going to take to address that whole fiasco. And we can dig into our subject matter for today. Grayson Singleton. You cool with that?
What's up, man? How's everything?
Everything is great.
Good.
Feel like we can just leave that all behind now, right?
I mean,
I'd
honestly,
hope so.
I kind of hoped we could leave that behind yesterday, but all right.
Papa Boganowski on the text line gets us started. Had the pleasure of talking with Ted, and he is shockingly smart and easy to get along with. And Greg from Lawton said, Teddy is low-key intelligent, can't judge a jock by his strap. 405 listener adds, Parker, you do you, keep winning. I love to listen to you, and Ted rocks. 469 listener from the state of Texas, amen, brother. Teddy is a Sooner legend and the reason I drive my wife nuts listening to him and T-Row while watching the game. Puerto Rican Sooner says, Ted's best day consists of being off and not talking to a soul. He's just one of the guys. Ain't that the truth? All right. Without further ado, I want to remind you all, before we go any further, that the show is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. If you are shopping around and you're in the market for a new vehicle, you need to check out Dorsey Jones because GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today. And Dorsey Jones, family owned and operated, offers phenomenal service as well. Family owned and operated for over 20 years. Many of their employees have been with the company out there in El Reno for over 20 years. So make the trek out there. Check out Dorsey Jones GMC. Get a half-price oil change this Saturday on the bye week. We appreciate their partnership. All right, Grayson. I want to start today with a kid that we very briefly talked about on Monday because I want to loop back around to him because this situation is quickly becoming real. And I think there's immense potential that this guy winds up in Oklahoma's class if things continue to progress along their current trajectory. And that is Jonas Muya, the 6'7", 280-pound offensive lineman from La Lumiere School in LaPorte, Indiana. Has offers from Purdue, from West Virginia, from Cincinnati, from Minnesota. He may, by the end of the week, have an offer from the University of Oklahoma. And what's crazy, Grayson, is I've been digging into Jonas Muya more the last couple of days because this was a name that just popped on my radar this past weekend. He's a guy that Oklahoma has not been actively engaging with for very long at all. I mean, a matter of days here. Turns out, and I mentioned Monday, this kid has a 7'4" wingspan and is a converted hooper. Turns out this is actually his first year of playing football.
That
Ever.
doesn't surprise me.
First year playing football. And I had a conversation this morning with one of the individuals responsible for scouting and rankings at On3. And that individual told me that just based off Jonas Muya's tape, just based off the strength, the movement skills, the wingspan, the physical traits, that's a guy that he would feel comfortable debuting in the rankings right on the precipice of blue chip territory. Like, he would consider slapping a 4-star label on that kid.
Doesn't surprise me.
So, what that goes to show you, folks, is that Jim Nagy, if the end-all be-all in your mind is sign the guys that the recruiting industry thinks are the best players, sign a bunch of blue chippers, sign a bunch of highly coveted prospects, highly ranked prospects, that right there is further evidence that Jim Nagy and the Oklahoma front office know what they're looking for and know what they're looking at, even before the rest of the country has come around to it.
Yeah, and there is value in being the pioneer in a kid's recruitment and something like that in terms of, the high-profile blue blood offers. And there will be more that follow if Oklahoma does, in fact, throw its hat into the ring for Jonas Muya. And if you watch the film, it won't surprise you that it's his first year playing football because you see the frame that he's developed both like naturally and as a hooper. And you see dude I see the vision here, but there's a lot that needs to be ironed out and whatnot just by years of playing football. But the God-given traits and the God-given abilities are already there. So it really didn't surprise me. I didn't know that until you said it. It didn't surprise me that he's been playing basketball and he's only just now starting. And also, keep this in mind with football. We see this all the time. I mean, tight ends have been converted basketball players. Defensive linemen from other parts of the world have followed this before. So this is something that, especially a dude like Jim Nagy, coming from NFL circles, has certainly seen. So this is another one of those instances where Jim Nagy's presence on the Oklahoma front office is going to loom large because he's seen a lot more things than a lot of other college GMs have seen, and it leads to something like this.
Now, here is the one lingering question mark with a guy like Jonas Muya, and in a conversation with another P4 staffer this morning, not a University of Oklahoma staffer, mind you, this very concern was voiced by that particular staffer. If Jonas Muya shows up to a place like the University of Oklahoma, are they actually going to be intentional about developing him? Or is he a guy that is just going to get recruited over and passed up, and 2 years from now he's in the portal because he is a project and he's not going to play his best football for at least a couple of years? And these days, at the highest levels of the P4, you're looking for guys. Most schools are looking for guys that can help right now, that can be serviceable if called upon right now. And so, I think that's a fair concern. It's a fair thing to wonder. Because how many legit projects have stuck around in Oklahoma's offensive line room in recent years? How many guys have only really broken into Oklahoma's offensive line rotation by year 3 or year 4, for instance? And I guess maybe Logan Howland is a good example of a guy that Oklahoma envisioned following that career path, that trajectory. But even he got forced into action as a redshirt freshman at both left tackle and right tackle for Oklahoma. So if Jonas Muya is a guy that doesn't crack the 2 deep for 2 or 3 years at Oklahoma, is he a guy that becomes a victim of the process, pun fully intended, at a certain point? Because you're going to keep recruiting blue-chip offensive linemen, right? You got a couple guys already in the 2027 class in Cooper Hackett and Luke Wilson that are going to come in at either of those tackle spots. You would imagine Luke Wilson at the right, Cooper Hackett at the left, and they're going to be ready to contend for a spot on the 2 deep right off the bat. Can you bank on a guy like that not only getting the development but getting the runway to be able to develop?
That's fair. And also, you have to ask about the mentality of the kid because he's going to know all of this too. And is he going to try to accelerate his own timeline so he can hold off the high-prize guys that are going to be coming in behind him? So there's a whole lot of here that could go out of whack. But ultimately, both sides have to have an understanding about what the process and what the developmental plan is going to be. If there's a disconnect between Bill Bedenbaugh and Jonas Muya, like this could go pretty bad. Does Jonas Muya end up saying, like, okay, this is cool that Oklahoma is interested in me, and if they ultimately offer him, does he say, wait, this is good, but is it the best situation for me? And just because it's the most prestigious offer doesn't mean it's the right road to go down for him. Hell, maybe he develops somewhere else like a Cincinnati, and then Oklahoma has a need pop up in the portal come 2028, 2029. And they want to say, hey, do we want to re-engage with this type of guy? Like, just because Oklahoma gives you the offer doesn't mean it's the best offer for you. And that might end up being the case.
It's become a Teddy Lehman love fest on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, and I love it. Jay in Tulsa says, Parker, don't forget, Teddy is one of the best color radio voices in the business. How could we forget? How could anyone forget? He and Toby, boy, we are blessed around these parts to have a radio crew that consists of Toby doing play-by-play, Teddy doing color, and the likes of Chris Plank just roaming around down there on the sideline, digging up whatever information he can from the Oklahoma bench. CJ Sooner in Florida says, no offense, Parker, but you spending this much time talking about it is exactly what that individual is looking for. And, look, I didn't say anything really about that individual. I just wanted to take the opportunity to validate and give my thanks to two outstanding teammates in Teddy Lehman and Dari Noka. Great dudes. Chris from Knoxville says, Parker, you're the reason I found K-Ref, and now listen from the start of the Plank Show to the final. You're listening to the home of Sooner fans, the Ref Sports Radio Network, every weekday. With that said, you're awesome at your job, and I really appreciate all the knowledge you and everyone else at K-Ref brings to this fan base. Thank you, Chris, and amen. We have competitive depth here at the Ref. Everybody in the lineup, man, is a stud, without exception. Without exception. 405-651-3439 is the text line. Hit us up. We got more to dig into on the other side as we keep talking OU football and recruiting here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Keep it here.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Feeling stuck in your current home? Now is the best time to make a move. Home Creations is making home ownership more affordable with low interest rate opportunities and special financing. Don't wait. Live like a champion today. Call Holly at 405-364-9999 to find your dream home.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
Coach Stoops here for Van Hoos Fence. If you want to work with the best local fence company and get championship service, contact my friend Mark and the Van Hoos Fence team. Van Hoos Fence gives each customer the most professional craftsmanship and competitive pricing in Oklahoma. From wood to chain link to vinyl to metal fences, the Van Hoos Fence team does it all. Contact the Fencing All-Americans at Van Hoos Fence, 405-735-1167 or vhfence.com.
This is Jake Aldrich, partner at Aldrich Teasdale. At Aldrich Teasdale, we worked for the world's largest insurance companies before we learned how they truly treat people and know that they are out to minimize or deny what has happened to you. When fighting them, you need a lawyer who knows their game plan and will be there to guide you every step of the way. From your medical treatment to the final resolution, Aldrich Teasdale will be by your side. Don't wait. Call Aldrich Teasdale today at 405-447-HURT. That's 405-447-4878.
Built for success? How about Built by Law? Law Custom Homes and Construction is here to build your next home. With over 30 years of experience, Barry and Angela Law pride themselves on building the best quality homes in Norman. Locally owned and operated, Law Custom Homes and Construction can also help you with carpet, tile, siding, windows, granite, and roofing. Don't wait. Call Barry Law at 405-919-7118 and let Law Custom Homes build your next quality home. That's 405-919-7118.
Racing season is here at Remington Park. Giddy up and let's go racing. Thursday through Saturday with first post time at 6 p.m. Come feel the fastest fun around. Remington Park has the winning experience for everyone. Their casino is open 24 hours a day, and new members earn up to $50 of free play. Explore the excitement of the Oklahoma City casino scene with top games, dining, and entertainment options available. Remington Park Racing and Casino. Call 405-424-1000 or visit remingtonpark.com.
Looking for a better way to bank? Join OU Federal Credit Union and experience the difference. If you are tired of hidden fees and impersonal service at your big bank, well, you deserve better, and that's what you'll find at OU Federal Credit Union. They offer competitive rates on loans and savings accounts. Plus, they're a local member-owned institution. Join OU Federal Credit Union today and discover the benefits of being a part of a community that cares. Visit OUFCU.com or stop by the branches today. Member savings insured up to $250,000 by NCUA.
Hey, it's Teddy Lehman here. Catch myself and Tyler McComas here on The Ref every weekday afternoon from 3 to 6 on The Rush. No one covers Sooner football like we do, and there's no better way to make sure you never miss a show than by listening in on the KREF app. We might even mention where you're listening from on the Ref Army Locator. If you don't have the app, you can take the home of Sooner fans anywhere you may roam on an iPhone or Android. Just search KREF in your app store to download the app and take the Ref with you everywhere.
CallBrianSmith.com is your 24/7 access to the best car and home insurance in Oklahoma. We specialize in making the process simple, fast, and affordable while still keeping that trusted local touch. Ready to save money on your coverage needs? Call BrianSmith.com at 918-481-7283 or visit us on Facebook and tune into our podcast, Get Canceled, on iTunes or Spotify. Call BrianSmith.com, your easy button for insurance in Oklahoma.
Congratulations to Oklahoma offensive guard Febechi Wiwu, who as of today has been named a finalist for the 2025 Burlsworth Trophy, an award that is handed out every single year to the premier college football player who began his career as a walk-on. It's easy to forget that's exactly what Febechi Wiwu did. Had no offers whatsoever coming out of high school at the FBS level. Walked on at North Texas, became a starter there by his redshirt freshman year after 3 seasons. 2 seasons of playing, 3 seasons total down in Denton. Transferred up to the University of Oklahoma last fall and has been a mainstay for Oklahoma at right guard ever since. So, Febechi Wiwu joins a lengthy list of former Sooners that have been finalists for the Burlsworth Trophy. I'm trying to think, have they had any winners? Drake Stoops came close. Drake Stoops probably should have won the Burlsworth in 23. I can't recall who beat him out, but Drake Stoops came very close, was not quite able to bring home the hardware. But I think next year at this time, it's probably Owen Heineke that's right there at the top of the Burlsworth Trophy race as well. Sooners got a couple of former walk-ons playing great football right now. It seems to be a constant over the years that at any given time, there's always one former walk-on at the University of Oklahoma that's playing awesome ball.
Walk-on you?
Okay, no. Baker, yes. Baker won the award. That's what it was, which obviously I don't know how I didn't think of that. David from Norman actually saying Baker might have won the award twice. Have to do some research there. But, yeah, Recruiting Boomer says Heineke will be a Burlsworth winner. It's very much within the realm of possibility. Jay in Tulsa says the Georgia quarterback beat Stoops out. No, I don't think so. It was, Cody Schrader. Thank you, Kyle from Southsaw. Cody Schrader won it in 2023 over Drake Stoops. Hey, Grayson, let me tell you, Oklahoma has a visitor showing up for the LSU game at the end of the month that has become, from my perspective, based on the conversations I've had, a very, very viable candidate to wind up in the 2027 recruiting class. And that is 4-star cornerback JuJu Johnson out of Long Beach, California. This kid can play, man. Now, his stock has fallen a little bit in the rankings as of late. He is still sitting, I believe, top 100. But there was a time, if memory serves me correctly, where he was actually regarded as the number 1 cornerback in the country. Two-way stud for Long Beach. Sophomore tape is awesome. He doesn't have any junior tape, though, because the reason why his stock has slipped somewhat in recent weeks and months is because he suffered an injury that is going to prevent him from playing at all this fall. So he's going to miss his junior season entirely. Obviously not the first guy that has undergone, or I should say succumbed to, an injury of that ilk. Brian Harris is a great example of a guy that missed a lot of his junior year, if not the entirety of it, back in the fall of 2024, and that's kind of why he was originally committed to Maryland. I don't know if anybody remembers this about current Oklahoma defensive tackle commit Brian Harris, but he was committed to Maryland for a little while because, and he's very candid about this, he's like, man, I wanted to make sure I had a spot somewhere. So I went ahead and committed to Maryland after one visit, just to make sure I had a spot and I had somewhere to go. Now, come the offseason, Harris was a really, really strong performer at several camps, burst into blue chip territory, and the big boy offers started flowing in for him. He wound up getting the offer from Oklahoma, visiting Oklahoma, loving Oklahoma, committing to Oklahoma. Gentry Williams, very first game of his junior year, back in 2021, tore his ACL. Didn't play the remainder of the season. And I can't recall, I don't think it cut into his senior year, but it might have. So JuJu Johnson, that's going to be something that naturally certain folks are skeptical of, is when you got a guy that's coming off a major injury, is he going to be everything that he was prior to the injury? But if you look at the sophomore tape, man, it's very easy to see why JuJu Johnson occupied 5-star territory before the injury. He can play football.
Yeah, he can. And he can play offense, defense, and special teams. He's a threat whenever you put him on the field and then get the ball into his hands, and he's even more of a threat with his speed and explosiveness. I do think he would fix one problem. He's a corner that can tackle.
Yeah, he can.
So if you're a Sooner fan and you go watch his tape, you're like, oh wow, a corner that will actually wrap up and tackle people. Now, I'm being kind of facetious there, but no, he's a guy that you just find a way to do certain stuff with. And I know they don't do it in college football a whole heck of a lot, but he would be a dude that, like, hey, let's put him on some jet sweeps. If we recruit him as a corner, let's try to get him in on some jet sweeps just to see what can happen. He also provides upside in the return game. He is an excellent returner. So if you're looking for more juice there, even though Isaiah Satania has certainly provided that, and, Satania has giveth and Satania has taketh away in that regard. But if you're looking for some more juice on that part of the game, that's where a dude like that can help you. But you're obviously depending on, and I know you didn't name the injury, and I don't know what the injury is, but depending on what it is, you hope that explosiveness that he has survives the injury, and he can get back to that.
And it should. It should. 580 Trey on the text line says, so we might have a J.A. Johnson and a J.U. Johnson jersey combo in the cornerback room. Well, fortunately, unless Jacoby Johnson takes a medical redshirt, he will be graduated by the time that JuJu Johnson shows up to the University of Oklahoma, if indeed he shows up to the University of Oklahoma. And the reason I bring up JuJu Johnson is not just because he's visiting at the end of the month, Grayson, but because he dropped a Final Five yesterday.
Yeah, and Oklahoma was
in the Final Five, and based on some conversations with folks close to that process, I am of the belief right now that Oklahoma has the advantage. And there's a world in which they seal the deal with JuJu Johnson on his visit for the LSU game. So that's a situation that's going to be worth monitoring very closely, because that's another incredibly talented football player from the state of California that Oklahoma could lock down early. And they already hold that pledge from Damari DeJean, the burner of a 4-star receiver from Pacific Palisades. And so if Oklahoma had 2 Cali commits in the 2027 class, before calendar year 2026 even rolls around, it sets a pretty encouraging tone, especially when you consider that it's only going to help Oklahoma's ability to go and pursue guys like Taven Epps in Tustin or Elijah Harmon in Inglewood. Both of those blue-chip guys. Epps, an edge rusher that we've talked about pretty extensively. Harmon, a defensive tackle that we've also talked about pretty extensively. I'll say this, Grayson, it would not shock me if 4 or 5 of Oklahoma's 2027 signees come from the state of California. It would not be a huge shock if that were the case.
One-star Colin Claremore with an interesting thought. No more 5'10 corners, which is what JuJu Johnson is. He's 5'10", 160 right now.
Uh-huh.
Where's the SEC-style cornerback?
Look, folks.
I feel like Theo Weiss mossing Eli Bowen has some still traumatized.
That has really soured some folks on the entire experience of recruiting cornerbacks under 6 feet tall. And I get it. I understand.
It's a fair thought.
Like, it's very fair. But what would you consider prototypical size by most reasonable historical standards at the cornerback position?
About 5'11".
Yeah. 5'10", 5'11". That's generally, like, even at the NFL level, the majority of cornerbacks that you're going to see are about that size.
About 6'1" and below.
The guys that are taller than 6 feet, I guess they're becoming more frequent. They're becoming more ubiquitous in number. But you still don't see a ton of them. And, yeah, you'll get the occasional unicorn like DJ Pickett at LSU who's 6'5", a guy playing corner at 6'5". But they're exceptionally rare. And more often than not, the guys you're going to see playing and playing well at cornerback are guys that have excellent hips, excellent agility, excellent top-end speed, excellent coverage technique, and they're in that 5'10", 5'11", 6-foot type of range.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And not to mention, Homie is what, 16? So he's still growing. 16 or 17, whatever he is, since he's a 2027 kid.
Yeah, and it's my experience that generally guys don't grow a ton over the course of their high school careers. So many of these student athletes, man, that are high-end P4 prospects don't get any taller after, like, 15 or 16. Like, a lot of these guys, and it's just kind of how it is, man, a lot of these guys are done growing by their freshman year. Now, you may see certain dudes sprout an inch or two here or there. You may see guys hit their growth spurts later, whatever. But more often than not, these dudes are going to stop growing around 9th grade, maybe 10th. Mike Honcho says, just get us anything besides Parnell Motley or Kenai Walker, and we can live with it.
4-star Lost City Sooner says, Buki the Elf ruined it.
And that's true, too. If we were assembling our hierarchy, as we mentioned yesterday, of most hated Sooners of the 21st century.
Yeah, those 3 would be at the top of the list.
Boy, would they. Buki might be number 1. Probably would be number 1 for a lot of people. And it's unfortunate because Buki was a good guy, good locker room influence, talented player, but man. Alex Grinch utilizing Buki against tight ends also didn't do him any favors because, Buki's, 5'9", and he's expected to go and guard 6'5" Charlie Kohler, and it's just not happening. It's just not happening. Ryan from Jacksonville says, Guillory not wrapping up on his tackles and allowing huge chunk plays was making me mad against Tennessee. He wasn't the only one that struggled with tackling in that football game. But yes, that is one thing that, especially if you are mindful of those recent struggles for Oklahoma, and they haven't been regular struggles, but you did see that Saturday night in Neyland Stadium. You love what you see on JuJu Johnson's tape because he's like a snake, man. He wraps up, and he does not let go. And Eli Bowen is another guy that has a reputation as a really, really reliable tackler because he just kind of approaches it the same way, man. He's fearless. He's only 5'9", but once he gets a hand on you, he's not letting go of you. And he's not turning in some sort of half-baked effort when he makes a tackle attempt. You never see that type of effort from Eli Bowen, at least not in the tackling department. Ken from Norman says, let's set the record straight. That wasn't struggling with tackling. That was poor effort and a guy just trying to make a big hit instead of wrapping up.
I don't know if I'd say it's poor effort.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say effort. Now, is it a lack of tackling fundamentals? Yes, absolutely. But I wouldn't go as far as to question effort. Not with the Cortland Guillory missed tackles that we're referring to.
Mr. 405 says, I'm 5'9", and Buki was listed at 5'10", and I towered over him every Tuesday and Thursday, going between classes. Yeah, that has to be. He has to be the smallest scholarship defensive back that Oklahoma has rostered in the last decade. I can't think of one that was any smaller than that. Now, Oklahoma has had some small corners that have played good ball. Eli Bowen last year is a great example, but also I know he was kind of up and down at times, but you remember good Jaden Davis? Like, there was bad Jaden Davis, but do y'all remember good Jaden Davis? Good Jaden Davis was an awesome player, and he made it to the NFL. He was a draft pick. Took a detour for a year at the University of Miami, but he wound up being a draft pick. Mike in Tulsa says it goes back a ways for me. It makes me crazy to see 5'10" against 6'4" seemingly all the time. And yes, I agree strongly with all the tackling comments. And you do want to have a couple bigger-bodied cornerbacks in your room, guys that you can match up against sizable receivers that you may go up against, such as, I don't know, a Dante Thornton last year against Tennessee. Unfortunately, it's not enough to have a big cornerback lined up opposite Dante Thornton because Kenai Walker was a big cornerback. He just wasn't a good cornerback.
And he just got cooked.
Yeah. So you want to be able to cultivate some diversity in the realm of just physical specimens in your cornerback room. You don't want to recruit exclusively 5'10" corners. But JuJu Johnson's absolutely a guy that you go and get if you can get him.
And by the way, to go back to a recruiting point here, you have a bigger corner coming in the 2026 class with Derek Johnson.
Very true.
Derek Johnson is 6'2".
Speaking of Cali, right?
Yeah, another Cali kid, by the way.
How about that, man? And not to mention, Oklahoma also does have a cornerback already committed in the 27 class, and he's a bigger corner as well, Mikael McCreary at 6'1".
Correct.
405-651-3439. Back to your texts, much more ahead on the other side. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Keep it right here.
The word is spreading, and the Ref Army is growing. Keep telling your friends and family that there's only one station for true Sooner fans, and that's the Ref Radio Sports Network, and worldwide on the KREF app.
Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money. They're in the business of taking your money. Hi, this is Will Gosney with Yala Gosney Attorneys at Law. Have you ever had an insurance claim and thought, wow, I really am in good hands, or these folks truly are treating me like a neighbor? Well, that's where we can help. We'll deal with the stress. We'll get you back to your normal life. So save our number in your phone. And if you're ever hurt in a wreck, call or text us at 405-800-8080. It's 405-800-8080.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
I'm Oklahoma Sooner quarterback John Mateer. My job is to move the ball down the field and get the Sooners across the goal line. If you've been injured in an auto accident, you need a pro to be the quarterback of your medical care needs. Dr. Martin Lopez and the OKC Car Crash Clinic are your premier teammates to help you on your road to recovery. Dr. Lopez is a specialty-trained MD with decades of experience. Make your best play call and contact Dr. Lopez at 405-86-CRASH. That's 405-862-7274 or visit okccrash.com.
Hey, this is OEC Fiber. Are you tired of slow internet? With our gig speed fiber, your whole household can stream, game, and work at the same time without buffering. OEC Fiber gives you reliable speeds up to a full gig and a friendly local support team in Oklahoma. Ready to plug in speed you can count on? Visit oecfiber.com or tap your screen now. That's OEC Fiber. Fast, local, and trustworthy.
Let's talk
turkey. Riverwind is OKC's favorite place to play.
And we've got plenty of jackpots to be thankful for.
Why stop at one thrill when you can chase all three at once?
Play blackjack, baccarat, and roulette on our all-new gaming machine.
Looking for the best in rewards? Elevate your player status when you win with your wild card.
Fridays in November, play for your share of our $120,000 Pixel Power giveaway.
Expect the best at Riverwind.
Whether you're celebrating a special occasion, desire a great post-game, or after-work dining experience, the Ranch Steakhouse is the winning choice. At Ranch Steakhouse, we're grilling up the best USDA prime steaks in Oklahoma. Juicy, flavorful, and cooked to perfection. Pair that with an unbeatable atmosphere, a killer drink selection, and a wine list of over 400 personally curated bottles. Whether you're toasting the game or winding down after a big day, Ranch Steakhouse is where champions eat.
Are pests invading your home? Call Avenge Pest Control now and get your initial pest control service at half price. Avenge Pest Control is a family-owned and operated company, proudly serving the entire Oklahoma City metro area, Enid, Ardmore, and the Durant-Texoma area. They take care of all of our pest control needs here at the Ref, and they offer free termite inspections and comprehensive services. With mice and rat season upon us, don't wait. Protect your home today. Get more info at AvengePestControl.com or call 405-693-2233. Avenge Pest Control.
Hey, it's Chris Plank, and a big-time fun event is coming November 8th, this Saturday, to Sooner Bowling Center. OU football star R. Mason Thomas and his teammates are hosting the R. Mason Thomas and Friends Charity Bowling Bash. It will feature an afternoon of bowling, a player showcase game, and live and silent auctions. Private group, family lane, kids-only lanes, and VIP lanes are available. Visit the Sooner Bowl Facebook page and follow the link to sign up today.
Speaking of big corners, it's Wednesday, and Wednesday is Remember That Recruitment Day here on Locked In. And the recruitment that we are fondly remembering, well, fondly maybe isn't the right word. The recruitment to look back on today is Oklahoma's brief flirtation with a guy that, as of right now, is one of the absolute best cornerbacks in all of college football and most productive cornerbacks in all of college football. He happens to play his college ball here in the state of Oklahoma at Tulsa. That would be Elijah Green. 6'2", 195-pound sophomore that is currently tied for the FBS lead in interceptions this season with 5. He has emerged as the premier cornerback at the G5 level, certainly, and one of the best, one of the most coveted in the entire country, because when a guy pops off at a place like Tulsa, what do you figure is going to happen?
He's going to get a bag in the portal.
And what are schools going to be doing months in advance to try and make sure that they're in good position to land that kid?
Our favorite T word, tampering.
Indeed. So, Elijah Green, man, this is a kid that Oklahoma did recruit. They never offered him, but they recruited him. They hosted him on campus. They had him down for a couple of visits. There are photos of him wearing the OU uniform back when you could wear the uniform on unofficial visits and do the photo shoot. But they didn't take him because at the time he was a wide receiver. And that was what he wanted to play. That was all he played. And he was maybe an FCS low-level G5 caliber wide receiver. And Tulsa took him. And when he went up there, he tapped in with former Sooner Dominique Franks. And the Golden Hurricane staff decided, we're going to put you at corner. We have a vision here. We're going to see how this goes. And Elijah Green started playing corner. And not only did he start playing corner, he became a starting corner for Tulsa as a true freshman last season in 2024. Had a good year by true freshman standards. Honestly, maybe a great year by true freshman standards. And now here's a sophomore in 2025. He has exploded. So, if this is the type of guy that you want to see in the cornerback room at a place like the University of Oklahoma, Well, going to want to keep that name in mind for the winter portal cycle. Because, let me tell you this, that's one of those kids, man. And I know this may not mean as much as it used to in the era where when you hit the portal, you're going to be fielding lucrative financial offers from schools all across the country. But that's one of those kids that grew up wanting to wear the crimson and cream. Sometimes that's decisive in and of itself. Sometimes it isn't. But it certainly helps Oklahoma's case if Elijah Green chooses to enter the portal at the end of the season and the Sooners have the desire to bring in a cornerback. And they will have the desire to bring in a cornerback. I mentioned yesterday that the Sooners are already keeping an eye on several cornerbacks across the country. Make no mistake about it. They're aware of the guy that's balling out 100 miles up the road. He's one of them.
This goes back to the conversation that we were having about Jonas Muya earlier in the show, talking about how sometimes that your most prestigious interest is not the best road to go down, and you can still circle back. And, that I think that appears to be the case there. And, you hope he doesn't harbor any ill will toward the Sooners not offering him right out of high school. You hope that that's not the case. But, I mean, you're talking about a big corner with ball skills, especially one that's right down the road. You might want to give that some serious thought, not a flirtation this time around.
It's not something for which the Oklahoma staff can really be held responsible because I'm not even sure the kid realized, nor did anyone in his circle at the time, that he was going to be that good as a defensive back.
Oh, yeah.
So, man, it's not really something you can look over your shoulder at and slap your knee and be like, man, we missed an opportunity there. No, it's just nobody saw the vision yet. Tulsa made it work, and you would imagine that this winter, if he has a desire to get paid, he's going to reevaluate his options, as guys can do these days in the transfer portal, and we'll see if Oklahoma can make a serious run there. But Sooner, I'll hop on the text line. It says, bring Dominique in as a coach as well. Dominique Franks is one of those guys that is due for a bigger job. Now, I don't know that there is a spot for him at the University of Oklahoma right this second.
I was about to say, you'd have to kick Jay Valai to the curb.
Yeah, you either got it like
I don't know if you want to do that.
Valai has to either leave for a better job as a D coordinator or something like that, or you just got to get rid of him. There's no reason right now to get rid of him. And also you have a couple assistants right now that have been groomed under his tutelage for the last few years that are going to be qualified to inherit that room and will want to inherit that room. Xavier Brewer, who was one of the Clemson OGs, I think he's been around since the jump. I'm pretty sure he came over with Brent Venables in December of 21 as a defensive analyst, but he helps coach the cornerbacks, as does former OU corner Jeremiah Cradell. So those two guys are around to help provide stability even in a world where you do lose Jay Valai.
On the YouTube chat, just real quick, Parker. Topher B, it's his birthday today. So
happy birthday, Topher.
Happy birthday to you, sir.
I won't ask how old you are. You can tell us if you want to. I won't make you. Mark and Marlo with some excellent news for us on the text line. Tuned in to see the temperature of your competitors, and first thing said out of his mouth was how y'all are liars with no accountability. It's a clown show. So it's great, man.
Okay. Can we put a pin in this? Like, seriously, can we put a pin in this?
It's great, man. Love it. Turn the dial over there. Turn it right back. We love to see it. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Let's talk about this. I meant to get to this yesterday. We never did. That's on me. But Grayson, as we look at the senior tape for Oklahoma's current 2026 class, you look at what I believe, is it 22 commits? I think it's 22 commits, 21 or 22. I should know with certainty, and I don't. But, yeah, Oklahoma's north of 20 commits right now in the 2026 cycle. And when you look at the classes it's currently composed, and you've been sifting through the senior tape, as I know I have as well, who jumps out at you as somebody that you feel like has taken their stock even higher with what they've put on tape thus far as a senior?
Jake Krell. I mean, I know it's the obvious one. I know it's an easy answer, but when you watch a dude at the defensive end position and nobody can touch him, people aren't getting their hands on him at IMG right now. Like that stands out to me. And the R. Mason Thomas comp, he is proving more and more and more because there's so many similarities between R. Mason Thomas and Jake Krell's play styles. They both like to line up really wide outside of the tackle. They both love to use a speed rush. And then because you think so much about the speed rush, oops, they're going to run through you as well. Jake Krell also is excellent against the run. He is a violent, very violent player, as if somebody just ran over his dog, type of violent, and that type of anger. I mean, no, this kid's going to be a certified stud at the collegiate level, and his senior tape is even more impressive than his junior tape was.
Well, it's a really easy comparison to make, right? This is the guy that you envision being your next R. Mason Thomas. Because R. Mason Thomas is a guy that, like Krell, is only about 6'2", and maybe doesn't fit the mold physically of what you imagine the modern edge rusher to be. But he just plays with his hair on fire, man, and is incredibly strong, incredibly quick, incredibly savvy, and has an arsenal of moves that he can use to beat offensive tackles and make a pocket collapse and get after the quarterback. And that's what you see Jake Krell being. Now, I guess my only concern with him is he's obviously a pass rush guru, right? Like, that's where he excels.
Mm-hmm.
Can he become a complete defensive end at the next level that is equally capable of setting the edge as a run defender and doing all of the things required to play that position at a high level in the SEC? Because if he's just a situational pass rush fiend, okay, then great, but at that point he's probably not living up to expectations as a former top 50 recruit. If Jake Krell's game can become more complete under the tutelage of Miguel Chavis, and he's obviously going to add weight, I would figure he's somebody that's eventually playing in the neighborhood of 240, 245 pounds. Yeah. I mean, that's somebody that's going to get drafted one day. Unless injuries get in his way, he feels like one of the safer bets in Oklahoma's 2026 class. One of the guys that already it's pretty easy to project as having an NFL future ahead of him. The guy that I wanted to highlight is Tyler Ruxer, Oklahoma's 4-star tight end commit out of Lincoln City, Indiana. Man, this is somebody that was easy to like on his junior tape. It's even easier to like him when you take a look at his senior tape. Man, he's having an awesome season. He's playing wide receiver more than he's playing tight end right now for Heritage Hills High School up there in the state of Indiana. He's a great route runner. He's got great vertical leaping ability and ball skills. And we've seen his game progress as a blocker as well, Grayson. That shows up on tape because I remember when Oklahoma offered Ruxer, and you and I and many others were starting to evaluate what type of player is he really when you dig into the tape, and the blocking ability wasn't something that jumped out at you as much. He was obviously a really athletic, oversized specimen that projected nicely to the tight end position at the SEC level. But could he block? That was the big thing. Could he block? Because in the SEC, you have to be able to block. Otherwise, you're just Bauer Sharp, right? And so to see some of the blocking film that Tyler Ruxer has put up here as a senior is super encouraging to me because, and I teased the possibility in, I believe it was early July when he committed. I think between him and Ryder Mix, Oklahoma has a couple of guys that are going to grow into complete tight ends at the next level, tight ends that aren't just situational usage type of guys, but guys that you can just kind of leave on the field for an entire possession. They're going to do anything, be able to do anything that you ask them to do. So Tyler Ruxer's game is really becoming a lot more well-rounded to me when I look at his senior tape compared to his junior tape. And he's somebody that already sits in blue chip territory, but it wouldn't shock me if he's knocking on the door of top 150 status.
Yeah, and he's a modern tight end, too, in the ways that you can deploy him. He lines up at X wide receiver sometimes. Yep. So he can be a matchup nightmare in the fact that if you're creative enough, you could get him matched up on corners, and it would be a very favorable one for you.
Really good route runner, too, man. Really good at sinking the hips, changing direction.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, the ball skills, just one of those things, you either have them or you don't, right? And he's got them.
Fluid mover for a guy that size.
Really fluid mover. Him and Ryder Mix both. Man, Joe John Finley. I know not everybody likes Joe John Finley, but Joe John Finley went and got himself a couple in the 2026 class. Those dudes can both play ball at a very high level. Okay, folks, we're done. Tyler and Ted are next. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Always great hanging with you guys on the text line at 405-651-3439. He is Grayson Singleton. I am Parker Thune. We will do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same place. Until then, keep it right here because Tyler and the Butt Kiss Award winner himself are taking over next. Wait, is it Ted or is it Tyler? Sometimes it's Tyler, or sometimes it's Travis, excuse me. Sometimes it's Travis on Wednesdays. I never know. Whoever's doing the rush, you're going to hear him next here on The Ref.